Hello Chantal, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure everybody in Camelot will be really delighted to hear you talking about your projects in Second Life. So as a quick introduction to everybody, Chantal is really well known in machinima circles, partly for being the early producer of the 48-hour film festival, where people get together in 48 hours and make a film, and then there's a huge competition and festival at the end of it, and that I believe is still running. Also, of course, the Machinima Club in Second Life, which she used to run. And also she's a publisher of children's books, and she works currently with a man called Professor Tony Dyson, who was the man that built R2-D2 for Star Wars, and together now they're producing children's book called The Bobbykins. So Chantal, would you tell us a little bit about the Bobbykins project?
Oh, of course I will. And first of all, thank you for asking me for the interview. It's fun to ride a balloon. I wouldn't do that in real life anyway. I'm scared of heights, so it's good in Second Life.
Wonderful. It's the best experience ever in real life.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
I can't even anything higher than a stool is out of the question. So no, couldn't. About the Bobbykins, yeah, I started making machinima, creating machinima a long time ago in Second Life. Actually met Tony Dyson also in Second Life. And we soon started working together, and we both agreed that fantasy creatures are more fun and better to film and to work with than humanoids, as Tony calls them. So we started with fantasy figures called the Bobbykins. They were specially created for us by one of our friends, and we made a few machinimas and then thought, this could go beyond. And Tony came up with the idea of creating ebooks with animation.
Wow.
And if you look at most animated ebooks nowadays, children don't get excited anymore about the books that are currently on the market, because they seem to have stock at the level at the ducks that swim around the boat. And there's so much great animation and machinima around. So, well, the connection was quickly made. The idea was quickly born. Let's try and do ebooks and use machinima.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's very exciting actually. We made a film with Bobbykins that we integrated in our first book. And the Bobbykins are actually a family, mom and dad, with a whole bunch of kiddies, all in a different color.
Oh.
And the two heroes are Clive and Sue, brother and sister, and they go on adventures. There's a fairy owl included that sort of tells the story. And the Bobbykins are sent on adventures all through, from one set to the next. And it's a little bit educational and more fun than educational even. Because we have silly adventures, and still the kids will learn things without realizing it is educational, which is the ideal situation.
Absolutely.
I think anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard you say before that you have your own sim and you build all of your sets and everything like that on your own sim. Is that necessary when there's so much space in Second Life? So many lovely scenes?
Yeah, well, we don't do anything on coincidence. Everything is planned, every move of the camera, but also everything in the set. Everything is calculated and planned. There's no coincidence. That's the difference between my time before I met Tony and the time after. I used to integrate everything that happens. Like when you do, I worked for Dutch television for a long time. And I always say, when somebody walks in front of the camera on, when you're filming somewhere, so be it, because everybody that's there belongs there, is supposed to be there.
Right.
But movies, of course, are completely different. And that's Tony's background. He worked in the big studios. So nothing, we never have any avatars landing in the middle of a scene or forgetting to close the sim off. So everything is calculated and carefully designed too.
Interesting. So a completely different way of
Yes,
working to probably what most of our group, our team will do.
yes. And
Okay.
what I used to do too, because I used to like the interaction and the funny situations, but yeah, for things like this, you don't want any interference. Also, it's copyrighted. Huh? We try to keep everything a little bit to ourselves till the big launch of the book. So
Right. Oh,
yeah.
yes. Actually, I was going to ask you about copyright. A lot of people have been saying that because the terms of service have changed in Second Life, it's very difficult now to use costumes and artifacts made by some of the wonderful builders.
Mm.
What
Well,
do you feel about
yeah,
that?
I don't see the problem there. Um, what we did is Tony built the whole sim, the whole set. You know, Bobbicon World. It's like a toy city with all toys and buildings. We have a big teapot and all the beautiful little fantasy things that you can get in a virtual world. But for everything that we purchased or built and used things from other people, we asked permission. We had a team of people helping us, and they actually wrote emails or IMs to everybody that
Right.
created a certain thing, and we have everything on paper. For the big things like the ownership of the avatars and the music that was composed for us, of course, we have it in writing with a
Yes.
signature and everything, even with passports attached, because you have to do that. So
Right.
you using things in Second Life, if you use things that are copy mod trans, I believe that it's still polite to ask, but if you alter it a little bit, it's yours. So that
Okay.
should never be a problem. And I find that most creators were like, really? Whoa, it's an honor if you want to use it. We never ask for free stuff. We don't get things given to us. We buy it and we credit people, but we also always ask permission. So I don't see a problem there at all. Mm, the only
Okay.
problem for us is Linden Lab changing the toss, as we call it. That is a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, they actually caught up with all the other games and platforms, except from some of the open sim platforms. Because no matter what game you go to, they all have a toss like that. It's quite normal.
Right. So basically everything
Yeah.
seems to belong to them,
Well,
which is
half.
completely wrong.
They co-own it. You don't own it totally yourself anymore. It's on their servers,
Hmm.
and they also own it. And it's not like they're going to do anything with it, like sell it or take it away from you. I don't. Well, I wish they
No.
would sell my stuff and sell my films. That would be fantastic, right?
It would actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you share the income and it's the best marketing you can get. If Linden Lab sells one of your films or creations, wow, hey. But
That's good.
my problem is more, our problem is that if we created a television series, and I worked in TV, I know how these things go. And they say, well, do you own all the rights? And I have to say, yeah, well,
Hmm.
Linden Lab co-owns it. And they will not put the series on. Nobody will buy it.
Ah.
And the same with the books, I'm afraid. I don't
Oh.
think, I'm not sure. Luckily, we recorded so much material that I think for the first 10 books were okay.
Hmm.
It's all pre recorded, and you can prove that on your computer.
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't know how the TOS change affects that. So, but for a TV series, it's a spoiler. Yeah.
What a shame. What a shame.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, let's think about the use of Machinima itself now, because you use it for your children's books and in ebooks, and that's wonderful. But we're using it, we're attempting to use it in language teaching.
Mm.
Do you think that's likely to be a help in language teaching?
Oh gosh, yes. I think it's a marvelous idea. That's actually how I started with Machinima. It was one of my first real assignments was for Language Lab. They
Ah,
asked me to make a series of, I think I made about 7 Machinimas for them. And
right.
that was filmed live. And I remember I was so impressed because you had people from China, from Colombia, all over the world trying to learn English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's one of the best ideas in virtual worlds ever. I think anything education. But Language Lab, one of my friends is married to a Spanish man.
Mhm.
He doesn't speak any Dutch. It's not an easy language. And I'm trying to convince them to come to Second Life and go to a virtual school. I'm telling them about
Ah,
the
yes.
airport and the shopping center, you know, and all the things
Mhm.
that you can. It's so easy to learn that way. You can't travel and do all these things.
No, it's true.
So, yeah, I think it's perfect. And it, people should know about it. Yeah.
So to finish off, do you have any hints and tips which you think might help our teachers as they start their career in making machinima?
Hints and tips. Yeah, I think uh, what I notice is I like the freshness when you start. I always say to people, it's never the equipment or the camera that makes the film, it's always you. So my first advice would be have fun and experiment and be careful that you've got good audio because very often when the audio is bad, then people don't listen anymore. I don't look anymore. And keep it short and sweet, but by all means have fun, just experiment and involve your students.
Ah, lovely, lovely hints and tips.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in film world they say kill your darling.
Oh,
So
right.
when you start off, every shot you make, you think it's wonderful, and I always think, wait 5 years, you won't like it so much anymore. But yeah, you have to be able to cut it down.
Mhm.
Edit is always good. Get some edit software and edit it down. And even when I'm really happy with the result, when the film is finished, I look at the time and I take 10% off
Oh, wow.
always, and that makes it really strong. Yeah. But
10% off.
that's a secret. That's a secret.
That's a
You don't know that.
secret. Okay. All right, we won't tell anyone that bit. Okay, I'm going to call an end to our interview now. Thank you so much for your time. I'm
Oh,
really, really thrilled to talk to you, and I'm sure
thanks a lot.
everybody will appreciate it.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.